Okay, starting with a face that already has foundation on it. No concealer underneath the eyes yet because we're gonna wait to do that step after we do the eye makeup. We have a little bit of hydration on her lips because we're gonna be using a long wear lipstick for this, and you need to have some chapstick or something on before that, or your lips, feel really dry and uncomfortable when you get that lipstick on. I already primed her eyes. I used Urban Decay Primer Potion, but you can get one from NYX, or Wet n Wild has a really good one for cheap. So just make sure you have a primer on your eyelid. That's gonna be real important for the eyeshadow. Starting with a very light color, not skin tone like these colors, but you're gonna have to go more on the whitish light end with a heavy frost to it. We're gonna take that color with our finger. So I'm gonna put it on my finger, pretty good amount, just like that. And I'm gonna go right on the inner third of her lid. Being careful not to get too far up into the crease area because another color will go there. But we're gonna build that white, pack it until you get a really good coat on there. I'm gonna now go to the crease color, or it's called the transition color, and we're gonna be using these 3 brown colors today. So we have a real neutral brown that's gonna go in the crease. We have a warmer brown that's gonna go on the lid, and we have a dark brown that's gonna go on the outer third, and eventually we're gonna build it with black. So I'm gonna take this neutral brown. You can go neutral or you can go warm like that, whatever you have, but it has to be a lighter tone, and we're gonna go right into the crease area right here. I'm gonna take a dome-shaped brush, just a dome-shaped fluffy brush. Go right into the crease, shape it out first, and then with the remaining, just start to go in a circular motion to really blend that color out so there are no start and stop lines. You're gonna blend up toward the eyebrow area, especially on the outer part of the eye. It doesn't matter if it gets a little high here because we're gonna add a little lighter color toward the end underneath the brow bone. But we just don't want any start and stop points right along this line here. We want it warm and we want it blended out. So however long that takes you, take your time doing that step. If you leave your lid a little bit open, it's going to be much easier to see your crease, especially those of you that don't have a strong crease. You're going to slide that brush right where you feel the top of your eyeball is ending and that brow bone is beginning. Again, when all the powder is just about in place, then we're going to start the blending process. Having shadows that blend easily is much easier, and that just means using a softer shadow. I use MAC shadows, but NYX shadows are really good. Wet n Wild shadows are really good. Okay, next step, we're gonna go in this medium brown color. So we're going from here, a little lighter in the crease, to a medium tone here. And we're gonna take that right, blending toward where this white ends, but staying in the middle part of the lid. Again, you're gonna pat and pack on the color with your finger. This prevents fallout on the cheek area when you're using softer shadows like this, and then you just use your brush to blend. So I'm going to get it the intensity that I want and the position that I want, and then I'm going to take the brush and blend that line out real soft. You don't want to hold the brush and put too much pressure. Real soft, but blending so that one tone blends into the next. Usually takes 2 passes to really pack that color on because it is a lighter color and we do want it to show up. So don't be afraid to really pack it on. If you put a little bit too much, it's very easy to blend out. Of this color, it's exactly the opposite with darker colors. You don't want to get too much darker on there. You want to build the darker colors. Now I'm going to take this darker brown here, again with my finger. Pack it on the outer third of the lid. This color is going to start to go up into the crease. You're going to take your brush, starting from this outer portion here, moving in when you blend the darker color, the outer V. You always have an imaginary line from the end of the eyebrow down to the end of your lash line. You don't want to go outside that line, especially when you're using darker colors. It's very difficult to clean up. So we're going to blend from the out and blend in so that, again, this color transitions from darker to lighter to lightest. No heavy lines. Okay, very last step, we're going to go in with the black, and I'm going to put that right here on my ring finger. Your ring finger you have the most control over, and it's just easier to use when you're packing on a color, I find. Look down. Pack it on to the very outer third of the eye. You can pull your eye up slightly, making sure that you're getting all the way to the lash line. You don't want any gaps between the lashes and this black color. And you want it deepest, closest to the lash line. It can start to get a little lighter as we head up toward the crease of the eye. But we want it really deep on this lid outer little third here. And I'm going to go right up to the crease. And then I'm going to take my blending brush, blend out that line. You can go right into the crease with this black. Straight ahead. So I'm picking up some of that black color on my brush, just what's on the lid, and I'm starting to blend it up into the crease. I'm going to add a little tiny bit to my brush now. You want to make sure that you tap the brush off when you go into those darker colors so that you get the least amount of fallout as possible. And you see where I'm starting on the outermost part of that like invisible line that we have going, and I'm blending in. Starting to blend the black into that lighter brown area. You can also take your finger and just run it very lightly into that darker or into that lighter color. And then I'm going to put my finger back into the black, making sure that it's as dark as it can get. Okay, continuing with, now we have the black where we need it to be. The brown transition color is fading nicely into her brow bone. Now I'm gonna go and jump to her eyebrows. If your eyebrows need filling, you wanna do that with a very light powder that I can't find. For light skin with light hair, you want to go very light on your brow. You can use a pencil, you can use a powder. I like the Anastasia brow products, but you can even just use an eyeshadow that has a cooler tone and is a really light color. Unless you have really black hair and medium toned skin, and then you can go into the darker powders like this. I'm starting at the base, I'm drawing a straight line until it starts to curve. Then I'm going up with the brush to blend that out, being careful not to get too dark in this first third of the eyebrow here. You never want that dark. Going up here until the very last little hairs that you naturally have. Do not go beyond what you naturally have if you can. And then rounding it. Pointy eyebrows never look pretty. You want to keep them rounded. And then from the highest point here, we're just going to go straight out. You don't want to curve too far down. If you have little hairs down here, just ignore them and go out. Your eyebrow should end with the same guide that you use for your shadow. So that should be the end of your brow that lines up with the very last point of where your eyelashes end. Okay, now I'm going to take my little skinny brush and go into the mid-tone color that you used on your lid. Not the lightest color you used in your transition, not the darkest color you've used on the outer, but the mid-tone. And I'm going to press that into the lash line, placing it exactly where I want it. I'm not swiping the brush back and forth, but I'm positioning it exactly where I want it. Not quite going all the way to the inner corner. We're going to leave that part out because we're going to use a lighter color there. But I am going to go ahead and go all the way to the outer corner. And then I'm going to go in with the black that we used. Placing that on the outer third, just blending it in. And you'll have to lay down several layers if it's not too pigmented. I don't like to use a really powdery black because it is too much fallout. I would rather layer, but if you're gonna use something that has a little bit more pigment and it is a little more powdery, make sure you tap off your brush before you put it on your eye. Tap, tap, tap. And you're just going right over that brown. I'm going to take a pencil brush, which is just a really small dome-shaped brush with a point. I'm going to go back into the lighter shadow that I used on the inner third of the eye. I'm going to pack it into the tear duct and go right underneath, right into that brown, just blend it all together. I'm going to pack it a little bit more onto this inner third, just to get it nice and bright. This is exactly where your glitter is going to go. But we want to get the base as light as we can before you get that glitter on. Okay, then we're going to take our glitter and this product, while it's drying, may tingle a little bit on the eye. That's just the adhesive as it dries. So you want to do this just looking down, and you want to cover every piece that has the white. And you want to keep your eye looking down while this dries, or else it will crease with those little creases that are in that part of your eye. So you want to continue to look down, getting it real close to the lash line. And I'm going to skip to the cheeks. I'm going to go in with our contour product, which is a cool brown tone, nothing too orangey. We're going right under the cheekbone, but not too low. You're kind of going on top of where that cheekbone ends. You can feel kind of where it ends, and you want to go right on top of there. Even with this top part of your ear, if you just draw an imaginary line, that's exactly where it goes. Not too far forward, but we're going to blend forward. And then I'm going to blend into the hairline along the temple area. Then we're going to take our cheek color. I'm going to go into this pink here. Just a little rosy flush. I'm going to go a little bit darker than what you would normally do because it is stage. You have to see it from the stage, but not too clownish. That's not necessary. I'm going to concentrate on this front part of the cheek using a very light hand and just build until you're happy with the intensity. We're going to go into our highlighter. This is a light flesh toned, nothing too light. We're going to go right on top of that cheekbone. Just give yourself a nice little glow there. You're gonna go right on top of the brow bone. Other side. Really light hand again. Not in this little corner here where you have most of your pores from your cheeks. You wanna avoid that area. But just going right on top of that cheekbone, right on top of the brow. Not too heavy, just a little light dusting. I didn't add any more product. And then right down the middle of your nose, you can go right on the tip of your nose, and then right on the Cupid's bow. Move on to the liner. We're gonna first finish our glitter up underneath. Look up. We're gonna go right into the tear duct and then right underneath where the white is. We're not gonna go all the way across with the glitter, but just in that corner. Making sure everything's nice and spread out and it's not clumpy or it won't dry right. And then I'm going to take my liquid liner, the black NYC liquid liner, shake it up really well. You're just going to lay that brush, you're going to kind of brush off the excess, lay the brush right on the lash line. Do little small sections at a time, working your way in and then moving out. You can give yourself a little flick, but you're really not going to see a flick because of that dark shadow. It's not going to really show up. So you can stop or you can just flick up gently. Straight. I find it easier to start in the middle, get most of the product off the brush, and move in. Everyone will have eyelashes that look just like this. You're going to remove one. Where it's tapered toward the inside, that's going to go on the inside part of your eye. And then you're going to trim it on the outside as much as you need to fit your eye. Usually about 6, if you count 6 little eyelash parts, usually about 6 over. So start at 6 and then test it before you add your glue. So that long for her eye. I'm going to test the length, put it all the way to the end. And then it should come, not quite all the way to the end, but just a little bit over where you have your glitter starting. And that way they'll be very comfortable. Take a little eyelash glue and just get it on the band. You can use Duo eyelash glue, Duo dark, or the white one, or the clear one, whatever you prefer. Make sure you get both edges really well. So extra glue on the inner edge and extra glue on the outer edge so they stay down. Might be easier for one of your friends to do this for you. And then you just lay it, look down. Don't close your eye all the way, but lay this in the middle first, and then connect the outer edge, and then connect the inner edge. Push it in all the way just to make sure all the lash is secure. And that's That easy. Okay, we're gonna go in with our lip color. One side has the color, the other side has the gloss. But first we're gonna line the lips. So line your lips. And take the wand and you're gonna fill in and go on top of the lip liner. Make sure you have Q-tips handy. If you go out of the lip line, it's really easily fixable with a little Q-tip right along the edge. Let the lip color dry and then top it with the gloss.